Hi, Intermediate Algebra. So this week we're going to do 5 sections. A lot of them are just very brief, so don't get overwhelmed by the quantity. I also posted, I'm starting to talk about test 3, so I posted some information on that you can look at, but I'll also just come back to that in more detail next week. Okay, we're going to start today with 9.8. 9.8 is a complex number. So a complex number is of the form a plus bi. We call a the real part and b the imaginary part. So an example of what a complex number could look like is 3 plus 2i. Okay? Complex numbers are more, it's more complicated than real numbers. It's like if real numbers, the system of real numbers is like that, complex numbers is like greater than the real number system. The real number system is actually just a subset or a part of the complex system. When you're doing a complex number, let me just go over what I means. I is equivalent to radical -1. That's why it's coming up in this section, because it's a radical. So instead of writing in our final answer radical -1, we nickname it I. So instead of writing our final answer in this form, we nickname it I. So try to think of a negative under a radical as what comes out as an I. So I'm going to go over the basic rules of how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide complex numbers. So let me start with that. It's very, we're not going to do anything like super in depth here with this. I just want you to be able to do the basics so that when we move into chapter 10 you can solve the questions. Okay, so oh, by the way, before I run off to this section, don't get confused if formatting varies. So when you're in the complex system, if you just have a number like 5, that's in the complex system, that's still considered a complex number, because then we're assuming you have 0 in front of the I. And just like if you have 3i in the complex system, we're still assuming that's a complex number, because therefore that means that the real part is 0. So no matter what the number is, it's complex in the complex system, even if it just has the real part or just has the imaginary part or has both parts. Alright, even though this is going to look weird, you won't have a hard time with this section. It's not difficult. So when you add complex numbers, you just add the real part and you add the imaginary part. I'm just putting up the parentheses for like, they're non-essential. I'm just putting them up for show. So you're going to add the 3 and the 8 together to make an 11, and the 5 and the 2 together to make a 7i. So it's just combining like terms when you add or subtract complex numbers. And like I said, and subtract. So if we try that now, so if I do like 8 plus 7i minus -3 plus 2i, right? I'm first going to distribute the negative, because that will actually, so this is essential, these parentheses, that will change the sign. And then I'm going to combine like terms. So the 8 with the 3, the 7 with the -2i,